Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Urban Network podcast. If you're interested in attending monthly networking groups and events, go to urbannetwork.biz. Now, our guest today is a friend of mine. We're both members at Urban Office. Her name is Barry Kruijning, and she is the founder of Kruijning Communications, which empowers and helps introvert or introverted professionals to be impactful and confident leaders. Barry, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Hewitt. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Of course, I've been looking forward to this episode for a long time.
Yeah.
We stepped up our production value. We both have mics now, which is pretty neat. We've worked together and we've seen each other and have built a rapport and a relationship around Urban Office. So it's really cool to be collaborating with you in this way.
Yeah. I love the opportunity and seeing you work in different capacities as a videographer and now as a podcaster. So it's really fun.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So tell me, how did you come to start and found Kruijning Communications? Yeah,
it was a little bit of a journey, and it still is a journey, of course. So back in 2000, I was working full-time in human resources, and I had some conversations with people, and people always reflected back to me, it's like, you would be a great coach. I always have such great conversations with you. And I started thinking about that. And back then I was a single mom with two small kids. And I thought, okay, so if I'm going to be a coach, how will that look like? And how can I, be flexible when my kids get to high school? And spend some more time with them around that time. It's a pretty important time. So in 2003, I did my first coaching certification program, and I started coaching women in transition. And that was a very broad niche. I did that part-time while the kids were, either playing or napping or in school. And I was actually working full-time as an HR manager still then. So did that until about 2008. And then I was at a meeting for HR professionals where they talked about mediation for HR professionals. And I was at the tip of my chair the whole time. It's like, oh, this is so exciting. This is the missing piece in my puzzle, in my work puzzle. Because I have a law background, and with my coaching skills, I totally saw the connection with conflict management and mediation. And so at that time, it was the crisis. It was 2008. And I had, as an HR manager, I had to let go of a lot of people. And it was so draining, such a draining time in HR. And I thought, I'm going to start for myself. So I started part-time in Kruijning Communications with mediation services. And then in 2010, I went full-time with my business. So that's kind of the journey towards starting it.
Yeah, and I could see how your experience in law and HR would be so perfect to build a foundation of being a successful or effective coach. And not only do you coach and help people elevate their positions in their profession, but you have a niche focused towards introverted professionals.
Correct. Yeah.
How would you define being an introvert?
Being an introvert, so very simply said, an introvert recharges their batteries and by being by themselves, and an extrovert as opposed to an extrovert who is recharging by being around people. But it's more complicated than that. It's actually, I've studied it a little bit over the last few years, because I was approached by more and more introverted leaders, and I thought, I need to know exactly why that is. And so it really has to do with how we are wired in our nervous system. And so introverts, so it's a spectrum, right? We're one end of the spectrum is introverted, and one other end of the spectrum is extroverted, and we're all somewhere on that spectrum with our wiring system, basically a nervous system. And introverts just need less external stimulation than extroverts. What happens is there is this, and this is a little technical, but I think it's important because a lot of people don't know this, that it's actually a matter of our nervous system, how we are wired, and the neurotransmitters. There's one neurotransmitter, which is dopamine, which works like caffeine. So we all need different levels of caffeine to get us going. It's like, I don't know if you drink
Just like maybe I
what,
start out with 1 cup a
yeah,
day, and then maybe transition to tea from there, right? So just
yeah,
like a moderate, small amount for me.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I drink only decaf. But there are people that need 3 shots of what I call real coffee, caffeinated coffee, in the morning to get them going. Same with extroversion and introversion. Extroverts need a lot more dopamine to get excited and to be feeling good. And introverts need a lot less dopamine. So when introverts are externally stimulated, they make more dopamine. And when that gets to a point that it's too much, they start feeling anxious and need to withdraw, and yeah, all that fun stuff. So that is something that most people don't know, and I just love that perspective on it.
Yeah, and I don't, and we've talked about your business, and I know you don't coach introverts to be not introverts. Like you empower them to embrace their strengths as
Hmm,
introverts.
hmm.
So what do your clients and customers like hope to get out of coaching sessions with you?
Yeah. So what they hope to get out is, I think it's confidence and visibility as a leader. And I'm coaching them on what I call the human skills, which some people still refer to as soft skills, which has a little bit of soft skills.
Like they're not important,
Yeah,
right?
but they're human skills. So there are, and especially now in the remote whole work from home situation, it's so important to have those interpersonal communication skills, knowing how to resolve conflict, knowing how to manage team relationships, and have it all be effective and have it all go well. So people come to me for those skills, as well as presentation skills. They want to be feeling more comfortable in front of bigger groups when they need to do like a management presentation. Also had clients come to me for energy management. It's like, how do I recognize that moment that enough is enough, and I need, to manage my energy better so they don't feel overwhelmed. So those are some things that clients hope to achieve. It's really, yeah, those are transformational things, really, to
Thank
become more effective in their work and being more seen as a leader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and thank you for that. And they introverted professionals and just like people in general, um, that's not any sort of disadvantage per se. It's like introverts can be very conscientious and like a plethora of other have a lot of other good skills as well. Be
Mhm.
very, they can notice things that other people don't notice.
Exactly.
But I kind of want to segue this question to something you could answer instead of me. But so what would you say are some advantages and skills that introverts tend to have?
Yeah. So rather than calling them skills, I would rather call them strength. So these are innate introvert strengths, and one of them, or I mean, there's many, but a few of them are very important in leadership, which is listening and asking thoughtful questions, powerful questions, and really listening to what's going on. So an introvert can really take in a lot of information and analyze internally and come back with a thoughtful response when they have the time, when they're given the opportunity to do that. Then often we hear as introverts like we're like quiet. So that's feedback that I've got through the years as well, and I've heard from my leaders, from my clients as well. It's like, yeah, people think I'm quiet and I'm disengaged, which is a total myth, a total misperception of strength. um, when we're quiet, when introverts are quiet, we are really observing a situation, we're gathering information, and we are well equipped to influence with the information that we gather. So we have our influence is growing. We make better decisions than when we're not listen and not quiet, observing. So, and we just really know what's going on in a team because we are so observant. Another advantage that introverts have is preparation. Introverts love to come prepared, and I have some notes here, so it's like that shows.
I could
It's
tell.
like,
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, I
wow,
could
she's
tell.
very prepared.
Yeah,
There's a
I'm
couple
like
pages.
introverts like to come prepared. We like to know what we're saying. We like to research some things if we don't know the answer right away. We'd like to plan and prepare, and that's a very strong point when you think about big leadership decisions or big projects that you need to run. Is preparation is 80% of the work.
Yeah, those are all just like amazing advantages to
Yeah.
have. I totally agree. Like at least 80% of the work to
Mhm.
really do your due diligence and look at all the factors of any given problem
Yeah.
is just an amazing approach that, should be, included or integrated in every aspect of business.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too.
So I was looking at your website and there's like multiple ways that you work with people and
Hmm.
services that you offer.
Correct.
One of which is one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what the process is like when a new customer or a customer is working with you one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah. As you said, coaching is just one of the services that I provide. And when someone approaches me, often they approach me directly or through their workplace, and I have a free consultation first to really find out, what are the challenges you're working on, what are some of the obstacles, what have you already tried, what are some of the obstacles you're running into, and what are the goals that you want to achieve. What if you would start working with me, and then we work on a little bit of a strategy plan where we determine some next steps, and if we're a good fit, we start working together. And from there on, I have probably 6 to 8 topics that I usually talk with and coach people on, depending on where my client is at. So I really meet my clients where they're at in the moment with regards to their awareness around their strength, with regards to awareness around their challenges and the things that the growth that they already went through, through other programs. So then I have assessments that I work with. So we can do an assessment depending on what the goal is of the client. If they want to work on their conflict management skills, I do a conflict behavioral assessment with them. So we have them benchmark. We have a plan on what skills to work on. And I have leadership styles assessments that I can use. So there's all kinds of tools that I'm drawing out of the from the
Toolbox.
shelves, out of
Yeah.
the toolbox, with my clients. And usually we work together a minimum of about 3 months, and that's once a week session. And that is a good time for us to get to know each other and to really dig a little deeper on what's going on and how I can help. And also to integrate some of the new learning as well, practice and integrate. So that's kind of a good starting point, is the 3 months.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
That seems to be like a minimum amount of time to see
yeah,
a significant change or to build momentum in
definitely.
any
Yeah,
direction. Like, I do a social media management for
yeah,
clients, and for some reason, 3 months is like a magical
yeah,
duration. It's like, okay, we'll go, you'll start to see some real, traction after
yeah,
this duration. And so I could see how that would apply in like other,
yeah,
businesses and goals in general.
yeah, yeah.
Something
Really.
else that Kruijning Communication can provide
Hmm.
customers and introverted professionals I saw on your website is downloadable guides.
Yeah.
I believe you had a downloadable guide on your website called, and correct me if I'm wrong, The Art of Mastering Difficult Conversations.
Hmm. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, you
It's
put
called.
in the art, but
Oh,
it is an art. But
yeah.
yeah, mastering difficult conversations and creating positive outcomes. And yes, I have. This is the first guide that I have. There will be more. I'm working on a guide to turn conflict into conversation. And so there's all these topics that I will turn into really handy, downloadable, free guides for people that are interested.
That is
Yeah.
so exciting. I can't wait for your website to like build up to have, so just a place
Yeah.
to have multiple resources for introverted
Yeah.
professionals. Starting with this one guide and like moving on from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have a great background, educational experience, a toolbox full of resources for your
Mm-hmm.
clients,
Mm-hmm.
which all seem like really great resources. I'm curious, what do you think are key elements to being a successful or effective coach? Like, what do you find to be some of the key um,
Mm-hmm.
characteristics a coach could have that will make them effective, including yourself?
Yeah. So there, of course, there are certain coaching skills that are seen as key elements, which is listening skills. And these are also skills that I teach my clients because they are coaching their employees. So listening skills, asking powerful questions, so asking thoughtful questions that help the client move forward, help the client see different perspective, especially in conflict. That's really important. A good key element for a coach is to stay in the process. So it is the coach's job to provide the structure in which the process of transformation can take place, or the process of learning. And so that's really important. An effective coach knows how to build rapport, how to emphasize and give honest feedback to the client, not afraid to ask for feedback as well. So there's a sort of, I would say, humility or humbleness around the coaching role. And the way I see coaching and the way I see a coach being effective is by being a non-directive coach. And with that, I mean that I personally come from a place that I believe that my clients have their answers within them and they know what's best for them. It is my job with the right questions to pull that out and to help them see that. Um, so that is, goes back to asking powerful questions and honoring, where the client is at that moment. And those are some of the key skills as a coach. um, Once we start becoming more directive, we can do that, but that's a different hat. So then we're more in a trainer role, or if this is a coach in an organization, then we're more into a supervisory role, which is fine, but that's just a different role. And we can throw in some of that, like learning, because that's what I do too in my coaching. So coaching could also be just giving someone a tool and see if they want to try it out or not. So that's also some things. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could imagine how one of the most important parts of coaching is being able to put yourself in their shoes or just to see
Hmm.
where they are in their journey
Yeah, that's
as
an
a
empathy
professional.
factor. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
So how can people get a hold of you and like learn more about your business if they're interested in scheduling a one-on-one consultation or
Hmm.
downloading one of your introverts guides?
Yeah. Well, of course, my website is there always 24/7, and that's crowningcommunications.com. And on the website, people can schedule a call with me, or they can download the guide, or they can read my blog. I have a lot of blog posts out there for leadership, as well as specifically focused on introvert challenges. Then I'd love to connect with people on LinkedIn. So I have don't know exactly my whole URL, but it's Barry KR. And people can find me under Barry KR or Barry Crowning. And my Instagram handle is Introvert Impact, at Introvert Impact. And on Twitter, I am at Coach Crowning. So those are some places that I'd love to connect with people. And just pick up the phone. I have a phone number too, so it's on my website, and just call me.
Awesome. I'll make sure to include all those links to your social
Okay,
media
great.
profiles below in the description
Yeah,
too. And I follow you on social media, and I am just like always impressed just by the amount of resources you're sharing, by
Mm.
your consistency
Uh-huh.
with social media. You post every day, it seems like, on LinkedIn, or at least
During the week.
during the week. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is very impressive. As like a social media manager, I am just
Uh-huh.
blown away by your social media strategy and just like the
Yeah.
value you provide to your followers. So I would
Thank you.
definitely recommend following Barry Crowning on social media
Mhm.
and checking out her website. Barry, is there anything else that you might want to share before we end this episode?
No, really, thank you for the opportunity to share about my work. I love talking about it. I'm passionate about people having dynamic relationships and passionate about the topic of communication. And so it's always really fun to talk about that. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, and thanks for coming on to talk about it.
Okay.
And thanks everyone for listening. And again, if you're interested in attending local networking events full of just like talented and ambitious and knowledgeable Portland professionals, register for one of our events at urbannetwork.biz and have a great day.